Imagine that there is a planet out there which is exactly like planet Earth, and we have the option to go occupy a piece of geography on that planet. What will it be? For me, it will be Pakistan. And here's why. Let's start with energy. We've got 200 billion tons of coal reserves in Thar. If we had started our journey on energy at Thar coal 25 years ago, it would have replaced all the RLNG based plants, all the furnace oil plants, and we would have been saving $5 billion a year. Our current account deficit on average for the last 10 odd years is somewhere around $5 billion. We've got a potential of wind power generation of approximately 43,000 megawatts. We have got one of the best sites in the world for solar, and we've only used about 0.07% of it. We've got about $80 odd billion of copper reserves, $30 odd billion of gold reserves. We've got arable land, 37 million hectares of arable land. And just by way of comparison, Netherlands, which is about 16 times smaller than us in terms of size, exports about 11 times more agri-produce than us. We've got a population of 150 million people below the age of 30, and you know, in a world where aging population is an issue, in a world where technology services are required, one can imagine what we can do with it. It is a piece of geography which neighbors two of the largest economies in the world. It is that corridor which provides access to warm waters to countries in Central Asia. It is the country which connects the entire Middle East and Africa with South Asia and Central Asia. So when it comes to potential of our country, we can only imagine what we could have been or what we can be. It is unimaginable for us to achieve our true potential if we don't put some things right. And when it comes to bringing about step changes in our economy, unless and until we encourage people to invest in the productive sector, nothing will happen. Let me share an example. If I had invested 100 rupees 5 years ago in real estate, that would have become about 155. If I had bought a car, that would have become around 175. But if I had invested that in the stock market, that would have become 83. You know, I'm going to talk about a local township here in Karachi by the name of Bharia. I'm a customer of that. It's a wonderful, wonderful project. The economic value of that township is around $15 billion. The cumulative market cap of all listed companies on Pakistan Stock Exchange is 31. So that kind of gives you an idea that we're living right now in a country where if you own a car, it will go from 100 to 175. But if you buy the shares of the company that manufactures those cars, your money will reduce by 2/3. And I'm quoting a real example of the stock price of one of those companies. And that's what's going wrong. And that is what we need to fix. That how do we encourage investors, and as Aurangzeb said, encouraging foreign and local investors to put money in productive assets. Unless and until we do that, we're going to continue to be on the wretched path, unfortunately, that we've been on. Our taxation structures. You want to put up a manufacturing facility or a business, you'll end up paying 33% in income tax, 4% in super tax when the season is right, and about 15% on dividends. So you're effectively paying more than 50% tax, but I invested in real estate. I'm sure all of us have. Barring the change in laws recently, which have also been challenged, you keep that piece of land for 4 years and you pay zero tax. We must realize that investment will flow to those opportunities which provide the best risk-adjusted return. So it is for the policy makers to set an environment, to enact laws which encourage investments in the right sectors. And lastly, in terms of our geostrategic location, as I said, we are neighbors to two of the biggest economies. And unfortunately, we do hardly any trade with 91% of our borders. Hardly any trade. Whether you look at it from the potential of our current businesses or future businesses. I mean, imagine if our borders were open, you would import lithium from Afghanistan. We've got $85 billion of copper reserves. You'll end up making batteries for the EV industry and serve China and India, which will be consuming 50% of the future electric vehicles. And this is just one example. But we obviously need to think of our geostrategic role that we keep on talking about, not just in the theater of, and not just imagine ourselves in the theater of this regional and global conflict. It has to be in the theater of global trade. And hence, the policy makers need to think about our role in this region, knowing that in the modern world, it's the regions which progress, whether it's NAFTA, whether it's European Union, whether it's ASEAN.